Welcome fellow freaks, geeks, and nostalgic 90s nerds to my channel, Slime and Slashers, where, we talk about everything from Nickelodeon slime to horror movie slashers, but plenty of stuff in between. But today's video is a horror-themed video because we are approaching spooky season and I cannot wait. So today's video, I will be revealing my 31 horror movie marathon. I will tell you all the movies I am watching. I will read you a short description from IMDb for each one. It should move rather quickly, hopefully. And I'll see you right back here after the intro and we'll get started. Welcome back, guys! I do want to say that a few other booktubers and horror tubers have been doing these types of videos. It's awesome that so many people do horror movie marathons around Halloween time, and usually, apparently, a lot of them do 31 movie marathons for 31 days in October. I just happened to do 31 movies because Kat suggested I should. I was originally going to do 30. Usually in years past, the past 2 years, I have watched 50 movies for my October marathon, and then last year I watched 65 movies, so I'm cutting down this year because I'm trying to read a lot more this year. Versus last year, I hardly read it all. I only read a few short stories. So yeah, that is why I had cut it to 30. Kat said, do 31 for October. I was like, okay, because of the days in the month. So yes, I want to plug Alex, the Bookubus. She has a great video out discussing her marathon, and she has some really good picks, and she actually has a pick in common with me that I have on my movie marathon list, and also the wonderful Elizabeth Sagewood, and she is doing hers in parts, so I will link both of their channels below and both of their videos below, and I'll link however many Elizabeth has released as of the time of my releasing this video. I've only seen part 1 as of the time of filming right now, and it was awesome what she has announced so far for her marathon. So please check those 2 videos out because I love those booktubers and they're great people, both Elizabeth and Alex. Alright, so now on to my list. I'm so pumped this year. Every year I research this for a very long time, my whole list. Some of the movies I choose come from Pumpkin Cinema, which is by Nathaniel Toll, which is a friend of mine. I call him Nathan. And I've found quite a few picks from there, and also Nathan suggested movies to me before, especially last year. And I also get some movies from online lists. Now, I will preface my list by saying that a lot of these movies you might be saying, oh my god, how have you not seen this? I don't think it's okay to judge people if they haven't seen a classic horror movie, because I have spent my years rewatching the same movies over and over again. I can't help it. So I've watched Halloween about 1,000 times. So I do still consider myself a hardcore horror fan. I've just seen Halloween 1,000 times, and I haven't seen some of the movies on this list that a lot of other people consider like cult classics and stuff. I've seen The Lost Boys a billion times. I have those posters up. That's why I'm referencing those. Pet Sematary. So I was too busy watching all of those over and over again. Until the last few years, I've forced myself not to rewatch as much. And I've been spacing out the rewatches over, every other year or every 2 years. That way I can get to new stuff. So without further ado, here is my 2021 movie marathon list for October. And technically, by the time I release this, I will have already started, because I usually start watching on the first day of autumn, which this year falls on September 22nd. And I am filming this after September 22nd, so I've already watched one movie as of now already. Alright, so my first movie that I've already watched was Malignant, which was released this year, and I thought it was pretty entertaining. It didn't feel like a super horror movie, like it didn't seem super scary, but still very entertaining. I'm not going to say too much about it, but yeah, that's the only movie I've seen so far off of my marathon list. There are rewatches, but I mean, that's the only movie that I've checked off the list so far, is what I mean. Alright, my second movie on my list, Mr. Boogedy, which is a Disney kind of special episode, and you could find it on Disney Plus, I believe. It was released in 1986, and a novelty salesman moves his family into a new house. The family soon learns that the house is haunted by people who lived in the house 300 years previously. My next movie, We Are Still Here, which is from 2015. It's a haunted house type of story, from what I can gather. Next up on the list, Silver Bullet, released in 1985. This is a movie adapted from one of Stephen King's books, The Cycle of the Werewolf, which Kat and I are both reading as part of our readathon. The premise of the movie: in a small town, brutal killings start to plague the close-knit community. A boy is convinced that the murders are the doings of a werewolf. The next movie I'm watching is 1922, which is also based off of a Stephen King story. I actually read this story that the movie is based on earlier this year. It was one of the first things I read, was the collection of stories that this story was in. And the movie is from 2017. The description says, a simple yet proud farmer in the year 1922 conspires to murder his wife for financial gain, convincing his teenage son to assist, but their actions have unintended consequences. Next up on my list, a movie I've been wanting to see forever but had a really hard time finding, but it's out now and it's able to be streamed, I believe. It's Near Dark, which is from 1987, and it's a vampire movie that I've been dying to see for a very long time. It's been very hard to track it down. So, the premise is, a small-town farmer's son reluctantly joins a traveling group of vampires after he is bitten by a beautiful drifter. I'm just reading the IMDb descriptions because I'm really bad at summarizing movies, even if I know what the movie's about. So please excuse me. This is how it's gonna have to be. I'm sorry. Next movie, Ghost Watch, and that is from 1992. The description, the BBC gives over a whole evening to an investigation into the supernatural. Next up is The Stuff, and I've heard a lot about this. This is one of the movies I'm kind of feel a little embarrassed and I'm kind of ashamed that I haven't seen, but I've said this to other people before, like, we really shouldn't be embarrassed because it is what it is. We're still horror fans, just sometimes we haven't seen movies, we haven't gotten to them, and this is one of those movies that is a classic but I haven't gotten to it yet. So The Stuff is from 1985, and the premise is, a delicious mysterious goo that oozes from the earth is marketed as the newest dessert sensation, and things, get crazy from there. Stuff goes to hell, I should say. Next up, a Chinese ghost story from 1987. After a string of bad luck, a debt collector has no other choice than to spend the night in a haunted temple, where he encounters a ravishing female ghost, and later battles to save her soul from the control of a wicked tree demon. You had me at tree demon. I cannot wait to check this film out, and I actually watched the trailer, and it looks bonkers. I'm gonna have a fun time. I know already. Next up, Scanners, which is a rewatch for me, but it's been so many years, it's going to be kind of like a first-time viewing for me, because I hardly remember it, except for, some famous scenes in the movie. But yeah, I'm really excited to re-watch this, because it's been way too long. This is from 1981. A scientist trains a man with an advanced telepathic ability called scanning to stop a dangerous scanner with extraordinary psychic powers from waging war against non-scanners. Next up, Pulse from 2001. Two groups of people discover evidence that suggests spirits may be trying to invade the human world through the internet. The Resurrected from 1991. A wife enlists the help of a private detective to find out what her husband is up to in a remote cabin owned by his family for centuries. A classic horror story from 2021. In this gruesome suspense film, strangers traveling in southern Italy become stranded in the woods, where they must fight desperately to get out alive. Now, I've heard comparisons to Midsommar. I heard this film is very similar. I'm guessing it's visually similar, or maybe the plot is similar, but I really enjoyed Midsommar. I watched that, I think, last year for my movie marathon, and I know a lot of people have mixed feelings about it. There's, mixed reviews on it in the horror community. I personally loved it, so I can't wait to see what this is like since it's been compared to that. Next up, another classic that I should have seen a long time ago. Again, I was too busy watching Pet Sematary, The Exorcist, and Halloween 400 billion times, also Hellraiser, instead of watching this movie. So next up on my list is The Brood from 1979. I know, I should have seen it. Please stop scolding me. I just imagine that that's what you're doing in your heads, or at home, even out loud maybe. But yeah, sorry guys, it is the way it is. I am very excited to get to it. A man tries to uncover an unconventional psychologist therapy techniques on his institutionalized wife amidst a series of brutal murders. Next up, Cemetery of Terror from 1985. A group of teens decide to pull a Halloween prank and steal a body from the local morgue. Unbeknownst to them, he was a vicious serial killer that worshipped Satan and was promised to live again. Ooh, that sounds very fun and intriguing. Next up, Black Box from 2020. After losing his wife and his memory in a car accident, a single father undergoes an agonizing experimental treatment that causes him to question who he really is. Let's Scare Jessica to Death from 1971. A recently institutionalized woman has bizarre experiences after moving into a supposedly haunted country farmhouse and fears she may be losing her sanity once again. Next film on my list is The Blackcoat's Daughter from 2015. Two girls must battle a mysterious evil force when they get left behind at their boarding school over winter break. The Driller Killer from 1979, and I was told that I should watch this by somebody on this very YouTube channel, so thank you for your suggestion, and I am going to take the suggestion and I am watching it as part of my marathon, and I'm kind of excited because the premise seems to be very interesting and zany, and here it is. An artist slowly goes insane while struggling to pay his bills, work on his paintings, and care for his two female roommates, which leads him to taking to the streets of New York after dark and randomly killing derelicts with a power drill. Hell yeah! This sounds like it's right up my alley. Next film on my list is Creep from 2014. A young videographer answers an online ad for a one-day job in a remote town to record the last messages of a dying man. When he notices the man's odd behavior, he starts to question his intentions. Next is The Midnight Hour from 1985. High school friends unwittingly raise the dead on Halloween night. Sounds perfect for an October marathon. Ghoulies from 1984, another classic I should have seen. A young man and his girlfriend move into an old mansion home where he becomes possessed by a desire to control ancient demons. Heck yeah. And next film I want to see is Candyman, the new Candyman from 2021. I don't need to describe it. I hope it lives up to my expectations is all I have to say, because I love the original Candyman, and anything in the universe, I hope does the character of Candyman justice, I hope. Now, I just recently watched Candyman 2 and actually did like that as well, except for the terrible accents, because it's supposed to be set in New Orleans and it's very bad in terms of accurate accents, but if you look past that, it's actually quite entertaining and I personally liked it. I know it doesn't have the best ratings, but hey, whatever. Now here's a film that's a rewatch for me, and it is one of my favorite films ever in terms of horror movies, and it's Session 9 from 2001. And it's just so subtle and eerie, and I just love it. It has a lot of charm because it was shot in such a creepy, scary location. And here's the premise. Tensions rise within an asbestos cleaning crew as they work in an abandoned mental hospital with a horrific past that seems to be coming back.
Hey, fuck you.
The People Under the Stairs from 1991. This is also a rewatch, but it's been a couple of years. I love this film. I remember really enjoying it. It's not totally scary and serious. It's got some humor to it, but it's more like dark humor. So here's the premise. Two adults and a juvenile break into a house occupied by a brother and sister. There, they must fight for their lives. Next up is a new watch, The Pumpkin Carver from 2006. From what I understand, it's kind of like a slasher film, it sounds like, and it seemed really cool, and the poster also seems awesome, so can't wait. Next up is a rewatch, Nightbreed from 1990, and this I'm watching with my friend Kat, and we're both reading the book that it's based on, and that book is Cabal. And that's by Clive Barker. So I cannot wait because I think Nightbreed is one of the most underrated horror movies, yada yada yada. I've already said this on my channel quite a bit, so I'm so sorry if you've already watched my videos and heard me say that 10 times already. But just because I say it a lot doesn't mean it isn't true, because it is true. So I can't wait to rewatch it because it's been like 2 or 3 years, not that long, but I don't care. I'm pumped. Alright, next up, another rewatch, The Monster Squad from 1987. You don't really have to describe this too much. All I have to say is nards. I can't wait because Wolfman's got nards, and it's going to be a lot of fun to rewatch this one. It's been quite a few years. I don't remember this one as much as like stuff like Nightbreed or even Session 9, which I remember very well. So yeah, The Monster Squad I remember, but just not super, super, super crisp. So can't wait to kind of, I don't know, brushing up on that movie. Next is a new watch, All Hallows Eve from 2013. Kat and I just watched the movie Terrifier, and this is where Art the Clown, which is the main character and the main antagonist of Terrifier, makes his first appearance in this film, All Hallows Eve. So the premise is a babysitter finds a VHS tape which features various sinister murders performed by a psychotic clown. And Art the Clown is creepy as hell. So yeah, I can't wait to see what this is all about. Next up is a rewatch, Halloween Town from 1998. It's pure, it's good, it's simple, it's cute, it's got everything you could want, it's got all the fall and all the Halloween vibes you could ever ask for. I just can't say enough good things about this. This is a Disney Channel original movie. Kat, my friend, has never seen it, and she's gonna watch it this year, and I can't wait to see what she has to say after she watches it. Hopefully she thinks it's cute just like I do. Of course, I'm biased because I watched it while growing up, so it's more of a nostalgic thing, but still, I think even somebody watching it with new eyes would appreciate the vibes and the feel. The premise is, when a young girl living with her good witch grandmother learns that she too is a witch, she must help her grandmother save Halloween Town from evil forces. And lastly, the last film I have officially planned is Halloween. And I'm talking about the original Halloween, although we do have a new Halloween movie coming out, and that's of course a sequel to the 2018 Halloween, but hopefully I get to that one too, but it's not officially on my list. So what is on my list is the 1978 original classic movie Halloween, and that's just because it's one of my favorite movies of all time, and I tried to space it out, but really I can only space it out every other year where I watch it, because it doesn't feel like Halloween without watching Halloween to me, because I used to watch it every single year. I actually used to watch it like a billion times a year when it was on AMC. I would just have it on in the background, so it just doesn't feel right to go through a season and not watch it, so that's why I was like, I have to have it again this year. But trust me, there's so much stuff that kills me to leave off of here, so many rewatches specifically, because the majority of this is new watches, but like stuff like Children of the Corn, I want to watch it again. I just cannot take it. Stuff like The Thing, I'd love to watch it yet again. The Shining, so many things. But you know, I watch it all the time. I watch it every other year. The House of the Devil even, which is like a newer classic in my opinion. I would love to watch that again. But yes, I must hold off and force myself to just stick to the list. So I've got 31 films here. Hopefully I can get to them all, and I'd love to add a few more, because that's what happened last year. I had 50 movies on my list, and then I wound up, like I said, watching 65. Don't think I'm going to be that good at watching movies this year. I don't think I'm going to be that prolific or anything, but we'll see. Alright, well guys, that's my list, and I'd love to hear what you thought about the movies that I picked out. Have you seen any? What are your favorites? Please no spoilers, because I don't want it spoiled for me or anyone else reading the comments. Also, what are you planning to watch for this October? I can't wait to hear what you guys have to say and what you have planned to view for this time, because it's the best time of the year. Of course, it's a Christmas tune, but I'm making it Halloweenish. There you go. Alright, because I'm singing it about Halloween specifically is why. And thank you guys so much for taking the time to watch this video. You know how much it means to me. It truly means the world to me that you take your valuable time and use it to watch some of my silly videos, but I appreciate it. Alright guys, for this time, that's it for me. Till next time, keep on killing it.